Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Thursday, April 12th. We only have 4 games today on DraftKings main slate. There is a 10 o'clock game that's on the MLB slate, but it's not a part of the DK main slate. It looks like DK is going to start cutting off all the 10 o'clock games, at least even no matter how big the slate is. I figured they keep them on small slates, but even on a 5-game slate, they cut it down to 4 games. I guess they're trying to get more people to play the showdown contest, the 1-game contest. So just 4 games today on the main slate on DK. But before we do get started looking at this slate, guys, make sure you drop a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. And if you are new and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss out on any of my new videos. But yeah, we're going to look at pitcher today, talk about the pitching options. We got 2 guys over 10K on this slate, Gio Gonzalez and Jose Barrios. I do really like Jose Barrios here against the White Sox. The White Sox, they're much worse against righties than they are lefties. They do have a lot of guys in this lineup that can hit lefties well, but versus righties, a lot of these guys will strike out a lot, especially like Avisel Garcia, Matt Davidson, Wellington Castillo, Tim Anderson, Adam Engel there at the bottom of the lineup. These guys definitely strike out a lot versus righties. Jose Barrios, we know, has really good strikeout stuff. He did get off to a really good start this year in the opener against Baltimore. Pitched a complete game, had 38 DraftKings points, 9 innings, 6 strikeouts, only gave up 1 walk and 3 hits. Then after that, against Seattle, he kind of got blown up a little bit, only pitched 4 2/3 innings, allowed 5 runs, but did get 7 strikeouts. I think this is a game where this is a spot where we see Barrios really bounce back here. I'm expecting him to get at least 20 to 25 DK points. He has way more upside for that. Like, he could get 30, 35, close to 40 in this matchup. Would not be surprised at all. He's definitely my favorite pitcher to pay for on this slate. I do prefer him over Gio Gonzalez. I just feel like Barrios is in a better strikeout matchup and has more upside than Gio Gonzalez does. So I like paying up for Barrios on this slate. And then looking for an SP2, this is where we really get thinned out with options. Rick Porcello, I think it's a decent pitcher, but against the Yankees, I'm not sure I really want to go to him today. I do like some of the Yankees lefties we will talk about when I talk about some of my hitters. And Sonny Gray, kind of on the same side of that game. I think he's a good pitcher, but against Boston, I just don't really like that matchup. So I'm looking at a guy like Ian Kennedy today against the Angels, 7,200. I do like Ian Kennedy here. He's pitched really well this year through 2 games, or at least 1 game against Cleveland. He pitched really well, 6 innings, only allowed 4 hits, got 8 strikeouts. And then earlier this year at the season opener against the White Sox, pitched 6 innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 run, only got 5 strikeouts that game. I think Kennedy's probably going to be the clear SP2 option that a lot of people go to. He's in a good pitcher's park, pitching in Kansas City. That ballpark favors pitchers. Obviously, this strikeout matchup against the Angels isn't great. The Angels don't really strike out a lot, but you still do have some Ks in this lineup, like Upton versus a righty, a guy that definitely will strike out. Martin Maldonado down there at the bottom of the lineup will definitely K some versus a righty. And I'm just not really a big fan of a lot of the other SP2 options. Kennedy's the guy that I think I feel the best about, and I feel the safest with. So he's the guy that I'm rolling with. If you wanted to go to Sonny Gray or Rick Porcello, if you think they pitch well here, you could go to them, but I feel like they might be risky in their given matchups. So a guy like Kennedy at 7,200, I like. He's cheap. He still allows you to pay up for bats if you want to do so. And pairing him with Barrios still leaves you nearly 4K remaining per player. So I like Barrios and Kennedy as my 2 pitchers today. That's really it for pitching. Like, I prefer Jose Barrios over Gio Gonzalez, so not very interested in Gonzalez. And then Porcello and Gray, I definitely like them like as a pitcher, and I think they have a lot of talent. But Porcello against the Yankees, Gray against the Red Sox, just don't love those matchups. So mainly Barrios and Kennedy, the 2 pitchers I'm wanting to go to today. And then if we look for 3 bats, we're going to go to third base for my first hitter today. Nolan Arenado, I feel like is a little bit too cheap today at 4,700 versus a lefty. We know Nolan Arenado crushes lefties. We obviously want Arenado when he's in Coors Field, but even on the road, the guy can still hit lefties well. Gio Gonzalez is obviously not a bad pitcher. He's actually a pretty good pitcher, but when we're getting Arenado at this price tag versus a lefty, I really don't care who the lefty is. Arenado can still take any pitcher deep, and even though he's out of Coors Field, the guy still has enough power to get it out of Washington, to get it out of their stadium. So I like him at 4.7K. I like spending up for him on the slate. I think a home run is possible here against Gio. And a lot of people probably won't play Arenado today because he's going up against Gio. And a lot of people are probably going to play Gonzalez to begin with, so they won't really be considering Arenado. So third base, definitely looking to pay up for him. And then my next play is going to be at shortstop. get some exposure to the Yankees today. I do like the Yankees as a sneaky option. I feel like people are probably going to play Porcello today, so they won't be really considering some of these Yankees bats. But really the lefties I like, Didi Gregorius being one of them. If you look at Fangraphs, especially last year, Rick Porcello was a pitcher that gave up a ton of hard contact to lefties. Did get really rocked by lefties last year. I don't think anything's going to change this year. I like some of these lefties from the Yankees, especially Brett Gardner, who we'll talk about, has really good BVP against Porcello. I like him as well, and he will be my other 5 play for today. But Gregorius, I think, is a good play here. Would prefer this game would prefer Gregorius if this game, or would prefer him a little bit more if this game was being played in Yankee Stadium. But even in Boston, I still like Gregorius here. I like the $4,600 price tag. The dude's just a really good hitter. He hits righties well. Going up against a pitcher like Porcello that struggles with lefties, I think Gregorius is a good option today. And then obviously I talked about Brett Gardner. I like him as a value option if you're looking for a cheap outfielder. Brett Gardner's only $3,500 today, and I think he makes a lot of sense against Porcello. He's hit Porcello really well, and it's a pretty good sample size. 46 at-bats versus Rick Porcello. Brett Gardner has 14 hits with 2 home runs, a .304 average, and 46 plate appearances against him. So Brett Gardner's got the BVP on his side, and obviously if we look at Porcello and how he does versus lefties and how Gardner hits righties, things shape up well for Gardner to have a solid game here. He's only $3,500, which is a cheap price. Gardner has stolen base upside. If he gets on base, the guy will definitely steal. He's got power as well. He's took Porcello twice, or took him deep twice, so definitely has the power versus Porcello to get it out of the ballpark. So I like getting more exposure to the Yankees, specifically their lefties with Gregorius and Gardner. I think both of them make a lot of sense today. But yeah, guys, these are my 5 plays for today. Jose Barrios, Ian Kennedy, Nolan Arenado, Didi Gregorius, and Brett Gardner. Now if we look at implied run totals on the slate, look at some of the top stacks. In this Angels-Royals game, as I'm recording this Wednesday night at 10:40 p.m. Eastern Time, we don't have any totals in this game, so no totals available right now for this game. If we look at the White Sox Twins, the Twins do have a pretty high total. Actually, have the highest on the slate right now at 10:40 at 4.9 runs versus Lucas Giolito. I do like some of these Twins bats, especially like Miguel Sano seems a little bit too cheap today at 3.9K. If you don't like Arenado today, you could definitely consider Sano. Max Kepler, I believe he double-donged on Wednesday. He's been hitting the ball well. Versus a righty, you could consider Max Kepler down there at 3K. We know Logan Morrison, Eddie Rosario, both of those guys have a lot of power, and they're dirt cheap as well. I do like the Twins today. They're definitely my favorite stack. And then my next favorite stack would be some of these lefties from the Yankees, specifically Gardner and Gregorius. If you want to consider Neil Walker, you could play him, even Tyler Wade down at the bottom of the lineup. But mainly like the top of the lineup with Gardner, Gregorius, and obviously Judge and Stanton. Both guys you can consider pretty much every slate, especially with the power that they have. That's really it for stacks, mainly the Twins and the lefties, specifically from the Yankees. If you wanted to play some of these righties from the Rockies, I think they're good for tournaments because nobody's really going to play these guys versus Gio Gonzalez. And all of them did get price decreases, especially since they're out of Coors Field. They're going to be cheap. DJ LeMahieu is only 3.9K. Trevor Story is 3.7. Arenado is dirt cheap at 4.7, or at least for what I think Arenado should be like over 5K every slate, whether he's in Coors or not. So these guys are underpriced. They have a low total today. Nobody's going to look to the Rockies. So you could definitely consider some of them, specifically the righties I do like. But that's really it for stacks and implied run totals. Now if we look at BVP, some of the top BVP plays on this slate with a decent sample. The number 1 play is obviously Brett Gardner, 14 for 46 versus Rick Porcello. But there are other options. Some of these Angels have hit Ian Kennedy well. Zach Cozart's 5 for 11. Pujols is 5 for 18. That's only a 278 average, but of those 5 hits, 3 of them were home runs. And then Justin Upton is 5 for 21 with a home run versus Ian Kennedy. And versus Sonny Gray, 2 Red Sox have hit him well. Mitch Moreland 6 for 25 with 4 home runs. So Moreland has 6 hits versus Gray. 4 of them were home runs. You could definitely consider Mitch Moreland here if he is in the lineup today. And then Hanley Ramirez is 5 for 14 with a home run. Now if we look at pitchers, PVB on this slate, pitchers that have done well, the White Sox have really struggled versus Jose Barrios. Jose Barrios has pitched really well against them. They've only hit him for a 132 average, only gotten 9 hits and 68 at-bats versus Barrios, so that just makes me like Barrios even more. Ian Kennedy also has good PVB versus the Angels. The Angels have really struggled against him, only hitting him for a 187 average, 23 hits and 123 at-bats. So my 2 pitchers for today both have done well in their recent matchups or just in the past in the matchups they're given today. And then there are no pitchers on the main slate. Fulmer and Bauer have done poorly in their matchups, but obviously that game is not on the main slate. So that's really it for BVP and PVB, and that's really it for this slate, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Hopefully it did help you. Will probably be a quick video just because it's a 4-game slate, but I believe on Fridays there's usually always a big slate, so we'll be back to our normal size slate tomorrow. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or you can just leave a comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And good luck tonight on this slate. Peace.